Hey everyone, Kyle once again. Welcome back to another movie review, especially to another rant. And this film, I got no words to say. I mean, from the title, it's I'm reviewing another Jean-Claude Van Damme movie, and I've always been a big fan of Jean-Claude Van Damme, of all the great action stars. Jean-Claude Van Damme, Stallone, Schwarzenegger, and etc. And for and was and but not all the actors have made good films. Sometimes they made a lot of bad ones. Well, a few bad ones, I would say. But Stallone recently and Schwarzenegger, they've been starring a lot of bad ones recently. So, but with Jean-Claude Van Damme, okay, for this rant, for this film, this one they starred in. Bottom line, it's a terrible movie. It's a bad movie. It's a horrendous movie, terrible movie. And it's The Quest. And what sucks even more is that this was the first film that Jean-Claude Van Damme directed. This was his directorial debut. It was his first time directing, and it's sad to say he did a terrible job with it. Sadly, I mean I'll always be a fan of Jean-Claude Van Damme, but he's made a lot of good movies. But there are some times he's made some very bad ones. Now with this film, the first time he directed this film, which came out in 1996. Which also another thing, been trying to do a slew of 96 movies for the 20th anniversary, because this year is 2016, so the 20th anniversary of celebrating the films that came out in 1996. So yeah, and the 20th anniversary, yeah, and 20 years later for this film, it still sucks. But and it was also that we're just really behind the scenes thing of this film. Um, this was also considered like the last because Jean-Claude Van Damme, he signed like a 5-picture deal with Universal Studios. I mean, the films that I would say was here was I'm trying to think what the ones that yeah the other 5 films he did with including this one. This count as the 5th one. 3 of the films I liked, and another one he started and sucked. But I love Hard Target. Sudden Death, which I reviewed, and I enjoy that movie. I love Time Cop. Street Fighter, which is another bad Van Damme movie, and then this film. This was the last time because he was coming to the end of this 5-picture deal contract with Universal Studios, and another reason is that Frank Dukes, which he has worked on with Van Damme. They worked together on Bloodsport, which, by the way, this is basically what it is. The Quest is basically it's a shitty version of Bloodsport. The combined mix of mostly Bloodsport, Lionheart, Kickboxer, even Mortal Kombat. Basically, it's a martial arts tournament. Mortal Kombat is a better martial arts tournament movie than this movie. That film I love a lot more. Sequel, no, but and because I think that the time that I think that Jean-Claude Van Damme, I think he was approached to do Mortal Kombat, but he said no. And And then I think after that Mortal Kombat was a success, he basically, but I must do like a different. I could basically start another movie that's like Mortal Kombat. If I could speak right, Mortal Kombat and or Blood and Bloodsport. So he wanted to do this film, and then Frank Duke said that it was probably like this is way too similar to Bloodsport. So um, I think yeah, but I believe that he sued him. And I forget who won the case though, but because at the end they put his name is credit on this for a story along with Jean-Claude Van Damme, so I believe he must have won it, so that's why his name is on the credits here. And I think since then because I think they were friends, but until this film happened, I think they're no longer because of it, which is like really wow. But yeah, with some of the problems that they'd have, and then finally when the film came out, got a lot of a negative reception. Has a 14% of Rotten Tomatoes and has a 5.5 on IMDb. Um, and of course, it was criticized because it said it was a lot very too similar to Bloodsport, and I do agree. I do agree. Why it's like, oh, this is like very similar to Bloodsport. This is very similar to Bloodsport. Maybe too much like Bloodsport, you know. And I can definitely see that, you know. It's just I'll just go instead of watching this, I'll just go watch the film instead. Bloodsport, Lionheart, Kickboxer, or even Mortal Kombat. I mean, yeah, but I know it said that it was his first film and all that though. But I will do say that what was like a budget was like about 30-some million. The budget, I would say that he was used well for the sets and stuff, the look of the film. I would say that, but I would say that's pretty much it. Um, I mean, and what's also the thing is though, this film is so forgettable. And basically that's what it is because after I got done watching the movie, I'm already starting to forget what was going on in the movie. I mean, the film opens up with Jean-Claude Van Damme because it's like because he's much older and he's very in this shitty ass looking old man makeup. I'm like, really? Wow. I mean, another actor, two other actors, and shitty old man makeup. Johnny Depp and Lone Ranger and Guy Pearce and Prometheus. I mean, him in old makeup, and he's telling because he he tells he has to he tell he the bar he's at a bar and he gets into a fight with some other guys. The bartender asks how did he learn to fight like that, and then he tells us all it was like a long time ago. And then it goes back years, which is in the 1920s. So I think it was like he was like a criminal on the streets. Um, he was an orphan. Uh, Trying to think what else. I think where he was wearing this is where he was wearing like clown makeup. I think he's on stilts and tries to get away from some people and he gets in a fight with people on the stilts. If I can remember, because honestly, this film is so forgettable. I'm trying to remember before I forget. Because I do believe that's what happened. Because I do very sure that's what happened, and then he gets the one thing listed earlier. He goes into he gets stowed away on a ship. That's what I think. Which is another thing. That's what I think remember that's what also happened in Bloodsport as well, or Lionheart, because that's where he was stolen away on a ship. So yeah, that's because yeah, there was a lot of things that was taken. I guess things from Bloodsport and Lionheart and stuff. I could definitely see why this film got criticized so much being like that because it's like, oh, I'm trying to make it like an epic series, another epicness like Bloodsport and Lionheart and stuff. He meets Roger Moore, which who's 007, of course. He's I think he's a pirate or a mercenary. I think he was. I think he's a pirate. And of course, Roger Moore has gone and said that this was like the worst film he has ever starred in. I think that's what he said. It's the worst film he's ever starred in, and all the films he has starred in, it's the worst one he has appeared in. And after seeing him in this, I don't blame him. Then he meets to this there's this all also going on for this on this island. There's this female reporter, which really enough is the same actress who was oddly enough starred in Carnosaur 3, Primal Species, who was the female doctor with the soldiers trying to first she wanted her to capture a live specimen, which I was like, really, that was the female doctor in Carnosaur 3. Because I thought that she looked familiar. I was like, really? Wow, that's her from Carnosaur 3. Okay. But it doesn't matter anyway, because her character that she played was the reporter. She's a useless character. She's basically there to get a story, and by the end of the film, Jean-Claude Van Damme, older Jean-Claude Van Damme, closes the book called The Quest, and that's the story that she wrote. So that's basically all she was there for, is to write this whole story, and so this main book that Jean-Claude Van Damme called The Quest, and closed it by the end of the movie. That's the only thing that she was there for. And I don't think that there was no love. She was not the love interest of Van Damme's character in the movie. I think there was no love interest in this movie at all. I don't think they've ever seen them fall in love with each other or anything. So, yes, she's basically a useless character. All the characters are useless in this movie. All the characters are forgettable in this movie as well. I mean, James Remar, he's a heavyweight boxing champion. Which, really enough, he's in the martial arts tournament. He was in the sequel to Mortal Kombat Annihilation, and that's a very bad sequel. So he was also in that as well, a martial arts tournament type of movie. Really enough. And I think it was like a weird thing. It's like Van Damme like punched him like a couple times, and he says, "Oh, okay, here you have my championship belt." I don't get it at all. And they go to this. It's a lost city. It's in Tibet. I think it is, and it's just where you get into this tournament where I guess your reward is like for your honor about this golden dragon. And all the fight scenes in this movie are so, especially with Jean-Claude Van Damme. He directed this movie, and the fight scenes that he directed were so terrible in this movie. Which is strange because he does great fight scenes in all the other movies like Bloodsport, Lionheart, Kickboxer. Even the other action movies he starred in, like Sudden Death, or all the other movies he starred in. But this was a chance that he directed in his first time directing, and the fight scenes he directed were so piss poor and nothing. And they don't even last long at all. I think it's like about 30 seconds at most, maybe even less than 30 seconds. I'm watching this. I'm just scratching my head. It's like these fight scenes are terrible, and especially this Jean-Claude Van Damme. He directed this movie first time, and I'm just sitting here scratching my head. It's like, really? I mean, and one thing, at least that by getting to I know I'm jumping all over the place, but this film is that forgettable. I'm starting to forget everything about this movie because it's that forgettable. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to describe the film the best I can because the film is that horrible. I'm starting to forget it because I haven't done I did do a rant a while back, which is that crappy Hitcher remake, but I should start doing more rants more often, but because films like these deserve to be forget about, and especially when it's sad that this was for Jean-Claude Van Damme's first time directing. He directed a bunch of piss poor fighting, sadly enough. And then And then another thing is that by the third act, he is all the, like, how many fight scenes did he get? I think it was like 3 or 4. And then he was like getting beat up a lot in all of them, and he wins the fight still, but he just keeps like getting the shit kicked out of him a whole bunch of times. He like takes out one guy with an elbow, and I think by the final fight, I think he like does like a couple of his 360 kicks, and then he does a couple punches and he wins. And Roger Moore pops up, because I think he's remember he was like a smuggler trying to steal the Golden Dragon. I think for what he was doing. I mean, and the thing is like that stop all like if you win, you can have a dragon, and there's another instance like if you lose you get to stay here forever or be a slave or something like that. You're like, okay, whatever. And then by the end of the movie, it all comes back in the bar, and older Van Damme explains, how he returned to New York, and he was helping the children, the orphan children off the streets and stuff, and he said he was training other fighters, and I think about with Roger Moore's character, he was like somewhere in the Amazon, and oh god, I'm so starting to forget this. I guess this film is so forgettable. This film is starting to leave my brain by the time I'm finishing this movie. It's like I'm watching this movie, but as I'm watching the movie, my brain up here watching is starting to leave my head already because it's that forgettable. Everything about this is terrible. Not one fight scene was worth a crap. The whole piss poorly done. That's why I'm forgetting, because my brain is left, and so it took my memory with me. And then, like I said, by the end, the female reporter published called The Quest, and Van Damme just goes and shuts it. This movie sucks. That's the bottom line. The movie sucks. And I don't get what this person from Los Angeles Times, a knockout for director Van Damme. Really? This film was a knockout for director Van Damme? This film was not a knockout in a good way. It was more like a knockout for me because my brain left my head, because it was definitely a knockout. Like just there's your knockout right there. The characters are lame and useless. James Remar's character, because another thing with James Remar character, like they're during one of the fight, they're like imitating animal moves. He's describing, oh, that's a mantis, or that's a snake, or a monkey, or tiger. Yeah, like even though, yeah, we get what they're imitating, but we're not that dumb because we can tell what animal they're imitating. So yeah, the characters are lame, forgettable, and useless. The fight scenes, that's the biggest thing. Especially if Van Damme is directing, an action movie, and the fight scenes that he directed are so piss poor and terrible and forgettable and lame. Yeah, you got some good looking set pieces for good use of the budget, okay, but that doesn't mean anything. And the score is forgettable as well. And instead of the score is done by Randy Edelman, if I mispronounced his last name, Randy Edelman. He's done the scores on a lot of films as well. Like he did the scores for Twins, Ghostbusters 2, really enough. Beethoven Second, Dragons, the Bruce Lee story, Dragonheart, Billy Madison, The Mask. Even he did the score for the sequel as well as Son of the Mask, but the score on The Mask is better. Triple X, Osmosis Jones, Underdog, 27 Dresses, The Mummy, Tomb of the Dragon Emperor, Daylight. I think what? Yeah, you think he did the score? Yeah, he did the score for Daylight, which I do enjoy the score for Daylight with Sylvester Stallone. Anaconda, that's another film I do enjoy. That I like the score as well. Anaconda, I gotta review that film sometime. So yeah, he's the Randy Edelman. He's done a score for a lot of films, and his score in this film was forgettable, not memorable at all. I mean, I just rather go watch. I mean, I could definitely see why the film got criticized and why the film was late, because even they said they wanted to make it, and they want to make it like a different version of Bloodsport, an epic Bloodsport movie. But I just rather go watch the original Bloodsport, or rather watch Lionheart, Kickboxer, or a better martial arts tournament. I'd rather go watch Mortal Kombat. Yeah, because I have all those films right down there. I'd rather go watch those movies. Not the sequel, Annihilation. That film still sucks. This is definitely, if I were to do like a top five worst Van Damme movies, this will definitely be on. This will definitely be on it. Definitely, I would say maybe my top three, because he's done a lot of bad. He's done a lot of great movies, and he has his share of some bad movies. Like what was that one he did with Scott Adkins? Assassination Games. That was a very terrible movie. Street Fighter is one of them. Is definitely one of them as well. There was another one called Derailed. It was like a crappy version of Die Hard and Train. That's definitely one of them. So he's had his share of some bad flicks. But Van Damme, he's done better. Well, directing wise, I think he went out directing another movie, but I don't think that film got released. I forget what the title is. But for his first time directing, sadly, I mean, there are actors that became directors, and they did a good job on. I mean, especially it was compared to Sylvester Stallone, he did a lot of good things directing wise. He directed the sequels to the Rocky films, 2, 3, 4, and 6. Rambo, which I absolutely love. He did a great job. He did a great job directing action, and he, hold no bounds on the blood and gore. The blood and gore in that movie he directed was crazy. So that's why I gotta give Stallone credit for Rambo, because the blood and gore they used in that film was just crazy and insane. Other actors that became directors. Ben Affleck. I would say he certainly has shined as a director. Gone Baby Gone, The Town, Argo. But of course there's an occasionally when someone has gone to first time directing an actor. Jean-Claude Van Damme, sadly, it was not a great start for him. So yeah, that's my rant on The Quest 20th Anniversary Edition, because I'm doing a series of 20th anniversaries for the films that came out in 1996. So yeah, 20 years later, this film still sucks. It's definitely one of his worst ones. It's only an hour and 35 minutes, but the pacing was like it was like, even though it's only for like 95 minutes, the pacing was not that good as well. It was like a little bit slow. There's a lot of films that I do like that essentially have a lot of good pacing, but this one just dragged on. like I said, I was rather go watch those other movies I referenced. And I can definitely see why Frank Dukes said this was way too much like Bloodsport. I can definitely see why this was Roger Moore's. He didn't say this was his worst film that he starred in. I can definitely see why. That's why Frank Dukes fought to have his name credit on this. So the film sucks. Sadly. Yeah, Jean-Claude Van Damme, first time he had a chance of he could have made. I would like to see, because I could have said that he had potential to make a great action movie for his first time directing, but sadly, first time didn't work out for him. So, and this was definitely not a knockout for director Van Damme. It was definitely not a knockout. Useless characters, forgettable music, lame as hell fight scenes. Definitely not memorable at all. That was like the big problem for that. But it was definitely one of the big problems for the film. So I don't know what more I can say about it. If you like the film, that's fine. But it's definitely one of Van Damme's worst films. Sadly. But anyway, that's my hope. And like I said, I try to get through this as much as I could because this film was so forgettable. I was forgetting. I try to describe it the best I could because that's why this film is. That's why it was so forgettable. And I'll basically forget about this film as soon as the rest of the film, as soon as this review is done. So that's basically it. That's my review for my rant on the Quest. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned on the next movie review later.